Welcome to FranchiseWire Live, your source for all things franchising. Remember to subscribe to FranchiseWire Live on YouTube. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And for the latest in news, events, and happenings in franchising, bookmark FranchiseWire.com. Now here's the host of FranchiseWire Live, IFPG President, Red Boswell.
Welcome back, friends, to another FranchiseWire Live. I'm your host, Red Boswell, president of the International Franchise Professionals Group. You know us as IFPG. And our sponsor today is our friends Tom Epstein and the whole team over at Pollinate. If you're looking for a good loyalty app, looking for some great credit card processing with their sister company, Franchise Payment Network, check out Pollinate, POLN8. Now, while we are all here, we get to have a great little discussion with the legend, Andy Cagnetta. Andy is the founder of Transworld Franchising. Now, if I may say so, no brown nosing, but if there was ever a Business Broker Hall of Fame, his face would be on the door. Word. Andy, thank you for joining us today.
That is high praise. I appreciate that. I would pick some other people to be on the door of the Business Brokerage Hall of Fame. I appreciate being inducted someday, but thank you. It's been, I guess legend makes me old. It's starting to get there.
Well, you and I both, bro.
Yes.
I wonder the same thing. Is that a compliment or is that a little dig, you know?
No, it's all good.
What's even more annoying to me is when people come up and go, why do they call you Red? Like, oh my gosh, is it that gone? They're like, oh, they call you Red because of your shoes, right? Sure. I was born with these shoes. Yeah. Well, where are you at today?
You know, listen, it's an interesting time in franchising and in business sales, and franchise development, period. I mean, we're in the middle of a COVID crisis, which seems to be going a lot longer than any of us expected, including me and my wife, who let my daughter's roommate move in our house, and that lasted 5 months. And we're like, it's time to go home. So, but listen, it's a very interesting time, and it's been good for franchising. We certainly don't want to be the benefactors of a bad time, but people seem to retreat to franchising when there's higher unemployment. So we're seeing a lot of people come to the table looking to buy franchises and buy businesses as well. But franchising in particular seems to be very popular.
It is, and Transworld being a franchise. Now, if I recall, you are in the Fort Lauderdale area?
Yes, correct.
I was hoping you'd have the beach in the background. Show
I could have done that.
The lifestyle of the business broker. Now, you founded Transworld Franchising how long ago?
So Transworld Business Advisors used to be Transworld Business Brokers. I came in 1995 as a customer. I was introduced to the owners of Transworld at the time, and they encouraged me to become an agent and work at Transworld. I did so because I had just moved to Florida. I had moved from New Jersey. My wife grew up down here, so I didn't know anybody. So I thought it would be a good way to get to know the business community and see what kind of business I would want to be in. I fell in love with business brokerage, and 2 years later, I decided to buy Transworld from the then owners in '97. And we started growing Transworld. We grew it to 9 offices in the state of Florida, which we still own and operate. And really, we're like, how do we, 13 years to expand 9 offices is not, a blistering growth pattern. And it was right at 2010. So the world's on fire again. I mean, we're like, how do we grow beyond Florida? We need good partners. And what's a great partnership model? Franchising. So we looked into franchising, and realizing that we needed more expertise, we turned to United Franchise Group and decided to partner with them.
Well, they're just down the road from you. They're a powerhouse of at least 10 brands today. So how many locations, offices, maybe reps would you have today?
We're over 250 territories that have offices, and we have over 600 of reps working worldwide. So we're really proud of our growth. It's been great. UFG does a great job of managing that growth and sales. And we're seeing last year, we sold 60 units. And so it was a very busy year. And again, people looking to get employed and looking for a good system. And, listen, I'm sure you hear this, and I've seen some of your other interviews, and people have a similar story. Once a franchise kind of proves its model, it becomes very popular. And there's kind of a tipping point, let's say at about 100 units, where everybody starts to go, oh, wait a second, that must be working. There's so many people involved. And so the success feeds on itself.
Absolutely does. So do you spend most of your time with the Florida operation or with the franchisor?
It's really kind of merged. It used to be, I'd say, about 50-50. I do have a president in Bill Luce, who's the president of the franchise, and I do have a vice president of operations here in Florida. So I kind of bounce in between, but really the needs of the people in Florida that are out on the street looking to sell businesses and do franchise development are basically the same needs that we have across the world. So all the systems and things that you provide franchisees, and you're just thinking CRM, vendor relations, social media content, speeches, doing things like this is really the needs of everyone. So it's really hard to draw the line where I'm spending my time.
Nice. You got options, buddy. You got people that help you. You get to do what you're best at, which is hang out with me, right?
Yeah. No, it's, listen, we certainly looking back, I would say my majority of my time is with the franchise because I was traveling. I think in 2019, we did 10 regional meetings as well as a conference. I went to Australia. I went to England. I'm looking to get back to that and spend time with our people, because that's really, the most valuable thing we could do.
Absolutely. They're your babies. That's your family.
Yeah, it is. It is.
All right. So I get asked pretty often, as I'm talking, I like you, I'm talking to candidates, people who actually want to become a franchise consultant. You're talking to folks often, probably the last call, with folks who are interested in becoming a business advisor with Transworld. Sure. So love to hear your take. Now I've got my answer in my head that I give. What's the difference, sir, between a business broker and a franchise broker or franchise consultant?
I think, listen, it's two different sales. And there are some wonderful franchise brokers out there that do a fabulous job. And so I'm certainly not going to take it away from them that it's as simple as handing someone over to a franchisor. That's not the way it works. I mean, really, the similarities between the two is you're trying to understand what the goals of that person are, right? If the goals of that person, and especially if they're a first-time buyer, first-time entrepreneur, they're probably, or a person that came from corporate or the military, that like to have guidelines, that like to be able to be guided and mentored. That's a great franchise person. Someone who's an entrepreneur, a wild man, likes to fly by the seat of their pants. I always say people who got toys on Christmas and would never read the instructions, those are the entrepreneurs, right? So those are the people that we sell businesses to. So a business broker, and really, most people don't do a good job of doing both, right? So business brokers go to businesses and get existing sellers to sell their businesses, existing businesses to sell to buyers. A franchise broker is more of getting educated to the IFPG brands, and we're IFPG partners, and you need to get to know the brands that are available, and then try to get people to fit those brands. Because as a franchisor as well, kind of wear like a bunch of hats here. As a franchisor, we want good fits. We just don't want to sell franchises. That doesn't help us. No. Selling a franchise to someone who's not going to be successful is actually a liability. And we don't want to add liabilities. And certainly I don't want to see people not do well. We're successful enough. We don't need the franchise money to go out there, and collect it and just have franchisees. That's not what we're in for. We're building a massive, marketplace for selling businesses with partners. And that's what we're looking for. So I think any franchisor is looking for that. So that was a long answer to a simple question. The difference is you really got to know the franchising world to be a good franchise broker. I think that's the key.
Like that. All right, you tell me if I'm wrong on this, because if I am, I got to change my message. I tell folks there's three primary differences in Red's little head here. Number one, and I learned this at the IBBA/Transworld conference when I was a franchisor 4 or 5, maybe 6 years ago. Hey, somehow I got asked to be on a panel in front of, I think, about 450 business brokers in the audience. Right. And there was one business broker that was facilitating this panel, and then there was like 4 franchise guys up there. Mm-hmm. Oddly enough, total coincidence, our founder, Don Daskowski, your friend of mine, was on the panel with me. Now, I was a Zor. I was not part of IFPG at all, but just weird coincidence. And the business broker that was facilitating said, hey, guys, we're going to take a little detour here. I want to educate, well, because we were there to educate the business brokers on franchising. He said, I want to educate the franchise geeks up here on business brokering. And he said something that, man, my jaw hit the ground. He said, all right, everybody, 450 brokers out there, raise your hand if you spend all your time or majority of your time looking for buyers. There's like 2 or 3 guys.
Right.
Like, what? That okay. And then he said, raise your hand if you spend all your time, relatively, looking for sellers. The whole room. I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then he
that's
said,
the game.
I mean, and he said, you realize it's the opposite with franchising. There's unlimited inventory with hundreds and hundreds of Zors and hundreds, if not thousands, of opportunities with each. And that was the biggest differentiator. And then to me, the consultant, you educate, you qualify, you advise, and then you introduce, and you take that back seat, and that Zor takes the lead on qualifying and taking up their process and ultimately selling, closing, awarding a franchise. And then, so with the business broker, you own it, baby. You own the whole process. You're doing from finance, leading on the finance, you're doing the qualification, you're doing everything relatively. And then the last was kind of at a high level, consultants sell opportunity, blue sky, lifestyle, while you guys are more assets and cash flow and quantifiable, provable model that's already history rather than future.
Sounds like my partner Ray was in the room. So that's his speech. He's like, oh, you business brokers, all you like is profits and assets. And, that's what you want to know. You want to know what's there. And when we sell franchises, we're selling opportunity. And it's a different sale. And that's why the Zors are better at it. And, if business brokers wanted to get better at selling franchises, again, they just need to get educated to the brands. Because you want to send people to good brands, to good matches, right? That will increase the odds of those people actually buying that brand. And then second of all, you just need to ask the question. I can't tell you how many brokers, I keep yelling at them, like, how many referrals have you made their franchises Ors this year? Oh, none. And how many buyers did you have come through? Hundreds. It's like, and you didn't make one, so there's a lot of education going on. Transworld's getting better at it. And, listen, we existed for 30 something years without franchising, development and consulting. Now, we're 10 years in and we've trained a whole bunch of new people and we're getting much better at it. So, and we love having IFPG as our partner for that.
That is fun. Thank you. We are honored to work with you guys too. I remember something else the fella said. It just came back to me. He said, 49, he said, I don't know where he got these stats. Maybe he made them up. For every business for sell, he or we, the business broker community, gets 50 buyers. He said, you can only sell that business to one of those 50. The other 49, you should be showing a franchise. I was like, bring it on. We're about to have a flood here. It didn't quite happen like that. But.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I do have to say, and I think, listen, Biz Buy Sell is out there and they're selling leads to franchisors. Those leads are very expensive. And I think because not every buyer is looking to buy a franchise. I mean, it is a different kind of buy. And so some people are very centric on, making money day one, putting their dollars in, getting return on their dollars, don't want to do what is not a startup, but something that requires, some sort of ramp up period.
Yep.
Or build out, or, so I think that's changing though, right? So franchising has gotten extremely popular over the last, say, even decade. It has completely changed from what it was a decade ago. And so you're seeing people wanting to get in on brands before they become the brand, right? So yeah, you're seeing people seeing it as an investment. Obviously, you see people taking Dunkin' Donuts and buying hundreds of units or huge swaths of area to, Jerry Jones and those kind of people jumping into that game. You see people like, you see people wanting to get into Orange Theory before something is an Orange Theory. So I think that's what is driving it, as well as people see it as an investment. Everybody wanted to get in on Massage Envy before it was Massage Envy. So it drives another brand in, Massage Heights. I mean, you see these things happen out there, and I think we're going to see more of it.
It just hit me. Did you compare me to Ray Titus?
I just said it sounded like Ray Titus was in the room when you were there.
Yeah,
no one can compare to Ray Titus, even myself. I love Ray. Ray is my partner, and we're very good complementary skills on a lot of different things and our attitudes and stuff. But Ray is a ball of energy, and he's great. I'll tell you, I've been, with Ray for 10 years. It was just our 10th anniversary on October 26th, I think it was. And we celebrated, and I've never seen anybody care more about his franchisees ever than Ray Titus. He truly cares about their success. So much so that he'll annoy them to death if they're not doing the right things. And, everybody leaves a meeting with Ray feeling beat up, but at the same time, at the end of the meeting goes, he's absolutely right. And because he points out to people, he wants them to be successful. When you buy a franchise, you're buying, Ray and his team to help you to help you be successful. So, he's passionate, and I've seen some other franchisors that are good. And that's why I say it's good to get to know brands, because there are some great people out there. I know another brand that I've gotten to know that's an IFPG partner is Centhound. And, and he great guy. He's gonna, he wants to make that happen. So
yeah. Fantastic. By the way, about 10 months ago, right as the pandemic's hitting, I interviewed Ray, and I was thinking I would grab one of these lights here and put it behind me and turn out all the other lights and try to imitate Ray. It was the funniest thing. I mean, we didn't have experience with Zoom, right? And he's sitting 30 yards back there. He's got all the windows open. I see a silhouette of someone who I'm assuming is Ray.
He's upped his game. He's upped his game.
Yeah, he totally upped his game, as have we all.
We all have. I'm sitting in a studio with lights. I got my Rodecaster here. I mean, we're all doing, microphones. So So Andy, let's talk, the future. We're in a new year, and everybody's saying this one, the 2020 is behind us. We're ready for new. We got a new administration coming in. Hopefully they don't burn down things as they do. But any insights, thoughts, predictions, advice for this new year for franchising? Listen, I think this is going to be a groundbreaking year. If you can borrow money to buy a franchise from the SBA right now, you're going to get 6 months free principal and interest. I mean, we thought it was a good deal last year. It's insane. And it's going to start again right at February 1st and go through the end of September. And we had it through the end of September of 2020. And I can't tell you how many deals we closed in September. And so if you're out there thinking about, I've even talked to my kids, my two girls that just graduated college in the last few years, and saying, if you're ever thinking about buying a business, let's think about it now. And franchise would be great, again, for a young kid who's got a lot of money. I mean, who's got a lot of energy, not money, but energy, that wants to go out there. Franchising is a great way, great first business to buy. And then, of course, a great way to expand as well. So, so I think this year is going to be mind blowing because money's still cheap. People are still fed up with the employment situation. And, again, within 10 years, twice corporations having to lay off people, and they see where they're, and people see where their corporations, loyalties are with the bottom line, not with them. So they're going to look to be entrepreneurs. And I think we're going to have a banner year in franchising. I think we'll continue to grow. And I think, the other thing, I said we sold 60 units. I'm not sure my exact numbers, and I'm going to get this wrong, and I don't want to get it too wrong, but I would bet almost a third of them are franchisees expanding. So watch for that, franchisors. You should be talking. And it's funny because we thought we would have a slowdown during the pandemic. Yeah. So we went to our franchisors and said, franchisees, excuse me. And we said to our franchisees, hey, if you want to expand, now is a good time, and we'll give you a little bit of an incentive to do so. And I can't tell you how many people took us up on it. A lot. And then we were like, oh, maybe we should have done that. Now we're so busy. But, I'm happy. I'm glad that, people who have invested in Transworld want to continue to grow it. So I think we're going to have one of the best years we've ever had. Now, will we have a slight delay into that, until we could travel again, until people feel really good about buying businesses or buying franchises? Will we have somewhat of a lag into that? Yeah. So maybe 2021, second half is way better than the first half. And then 2022, I think it's just going to be a blowout year.
Amen. Yeah. And we're seeing it. I mean, 2020 period was a blowout year for us. Just like you said, people are at home. They've got time. Money's fairly easy to get hold of. 401ks are through the roof. Home equity's solid. And
yeah, it's kind of the perfect storm. I mean, listen, we look back at the last two economic downturns when I was around in 2000, when the stock market took it was the dot-com boom or crash. The stock market was in the toilet. So people didn't have money to borrow from their rich uncles. I always used to say, because everybody felt less, worth money. And then you go into 2010 during the economic downturn, and everybody's home equity is gone and the banks are not in the game. Yep. Well, here we are in a pandemic that we know is going to end. It's going to end. And the banks know it's going to end. Yep. And everybody, and if you're a buyer right now, if you're listening to this, thinking about buying a franchise, you should really think about buying it now. You could probably get a good incentive of getting in there. Landlords are going to be a lot nicer now than they are in the future, in the future when everybody goes back. Because I don't think everybody's going to leave their office space. I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, I think there will be more telecommuting. I don't think retail is dead. I think everybody's going to go back out there and do things. So I think it's a huge opportunity for buyers to open up locations. And if you happen to be in the food industry, the number one franchise industry, right? Food,
yeah.
Right. So if you want to open a new franchise unit, you could probably call your local business broker and find an empty restaurant and spend way less money on grease traps, on plumbing, electricity, and probably save a lot of money on build out by going into something that was something else.
And when these would-be entrepreneurs, these potential franchisees, a lot of times they think short-term and they go, well, gosh, I don't want to do that because it's closed, whatever, right now. The government required it to be closed. Awesome. That's when you buy. It ain't going to be closed in 6 months when you actually are able to get open. It's going to take a little while.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I try not to make, listen, one of my pep talks to everybody about the political situation that we were in over the last year. I always said to people, I said, listen, I don't make investments. I don't start businesses. I don't expand my business. I don't borrow money based on who I think is going to be the president of the United States. I have never done that. And if you wait for that, or you put your head, like we're all watching the news from time to time, but if you stick your head in the news and watch it every day, and you're going to come out of there negative, you're going to come out of there scared, and you're going to come out of there frozen not to do something. Don't do that. That is, don't make decisions based on who. I am not waiting for the government to make me happy, to make me rich, to make me, come on.
$2,000 stimulus ain't going to make you rich. What?
No, $600. No.
Well, what's next for Transworld? You got anything up your sleeve you can share?
Well, we have a big expo in June that we're hoping to pull off. So we're hoping everybody gets to come to West Palm Beach for the 35th anniversary. I think it is for UFG. Wow. I always get confused of each of ours anniversary dates, but we're having it in West Palm, and
you better not forget your wife's anniversary there.
Yeah, well, I know that, July 10th. But anyway, so I think that's happening. Listen, what we did during the economic downturn, it was funny. I mean, during this COVID crisis, was we spent a lot of times, and I'm sure a lot of franchisors did this as well, took a step back and said, what do we need to fix? Do we need to fix training? Do we need to fix our CRM system? Do we need to fix, a lot of other systems and vendor relations and stuff? And we fixed it all. And so now we're like starting this year saying, we have to teach everybody how to use all the stuff that we've come out with. So we're really looking forward to just leveraging all the things that we've done over the last, 9 months to a year. And we're very excited about Transworld's continued growth internationally and nationally. And we're just really excited.
Well, for a good reason. And, we got to, I don't know when I'm going to see you on the road, but we got to get you. I mean, we got our big, IFPG's annual conference retreat in October in Hollywood,
Miami.
Down the street from you, Hollywood, Florida.
Yes. Yes. So I will be there. I live in Hollywood, so I promise to stop by.
You better. Were you there at the last one?
I missed the last one. I forget. It conflicted with something. I was out of town. I was literally out of town. I was sad. I make sure some of our folks come down there. I have Michael Bush, who specializes in selling franchises here at Transworld, Florida. And so I know he's always coming, and a few others. So.
Yeah, there's a bunch of UFG guys there too. And, by the way, we've got hundreds and hundreds of resales in our inventory. Why the Transworld guys and the business brokers that are members with us don't dive into that every day is beyond me.
Yeah, we do. I know we do on some levels, but yeah, we should be better at that. Listen, we're always trying to be better at that. And listen, I could talk to you about that. Like, one of the things that we should do is we should share databases at some point. And if, we could get permission from those, if we could get permission from some of those resales to sell them again, we'll put them on our website too. So lots of good ideas.
Your guys talked to me about that a year ago. Yeah. So that's where we've been.
I know we were talking about that. So we'll continue that conversation. Listen, I always tell people that the world, and the technology is making it that we have to share information. And at the end of the day, we're going to share the profits in that information, in those transactions. And if we don't do it, much like the taxi drivers didn't want to share picking up people at the airport, something else is going to come along and share all this information and get people to transact on businesses and franchises easier. And so, IFPG, franchisors, business brokers, we're all eventually going to work together on platforms, or something else is going to come along and do it for us. And I'd rather be in control of that.
Amen. Gang, if you haven't gotten the vibe here franchising is lower risk. Franchising is more fun. It's certainly a faster ramp up, better support, typically much better profits, better systems, better lifestyle. And you know what? For the franchisor folks, like you've seen right here with Andy, it has changed lives, changed communities, and a better world. So, Andy, we have been blessed. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today on FranchiseWire Live. Andy Cagnetta, founder of Transworld Franchising. Thanks, Andy.
Thanks.